Hey guys, Alex from Board Game Co over here, and today we're taking a look at Sea of Legends. Sea of Legends is a new Kickstarter by a fresh new production company. This is their first Kickstarter. This is, just hit today. It already hit its funding goal of 75,000 in the first day, which is nothing to sneeze at for a first-time publisher. Now, this game is simultaneously for me personally, on a personal level, there are so many cool things with this game, and also some things that really turn me off. So I'm gonna go do a quick review of the Kickstarter page, go into the details, go into what it has and what it doesn't have, and what I do like and what I don't like. And if you stick around to the end of this video, I'll tell you my usual whether I think it's a good back, whether I think it's a good, safe investment of your money. Meaning, are you putting a buckload of money down on something that's going to be worth half the price a year from now? Or alternatively, will it hold its value? Is it a safe back? Now from there, so let's go into it. This is basically a combination storytelling, sandbox, dice rolling, building up your character, getting various equipment or extras or various things you can do to improve your abilities, how many dice you roll, your stats and all that. It's a typical sandbox. Well, typical is a, again, easily thrown around word, but it's a sandbox game which is heavily app driven. And they said very specifically there's not going to be a non-app version of this game, just because of the sheer amount of content and the sheer amount of interweaving. They felt that a app is the best and possibly only way to really give it that gameplay experience, to deliver that kind of narrative world that they want to give you, which, if you've been watching my videos, is already a huge minus for me. While many people can really appreciate app-driven games. I mean, Mansions of Madness, Lord of the Rings, and Middle-earth. There are multiple app-driven games out there that are incredibly well-rated, incredibly loved by many. For me personally, that was a big strike against the game in terms of my own backing it. Doesn't mean whether it's goodbye or not. It's just my own personal preference is I have not enjoyed app-driven games. I find it takes me out of the gameplay experience. It takes me out of that tactile, immersive experience that I'm looking for when I play a board game. I like holding a hand of cards. I like moving my things around the board. I like picking up this. I do not like switching from a screen to back to the board and then moving this character and then tapping the screen and looking at that experience. I don't personally like that. But again, you have to know yourself. You have to know what you've enjoyed. If you haven't played an app-driven game, well, if you have played an app-driven game and you've enjoyed it, then who cares? That's already a plus. It's not a problem for you. If you generally have not liked app-driven games, then you have to question whether this is going to be the exception. Is this the game that's going to change your mind in app-driven games? And if you haven't played app-driven games at all, then you look into it. I mean, to check out what other people's opinions are. Look at the fact that there are well-rated games, and this may be an expensive first-time purchase if you haven't really played an app-driven game. Now, all that being said, I will say, and this is a major pro for this game, I was very close to overcoming my distaste for app-driven games and backing it anyway. The game looks absolutely amazing. The game, I mean, this is, like I said, this is their first Kickstarter, but it's not people new to the industry in general. It's just it's their first company, their first Kickstarter. But this is an incredibly well-produced Kickstarter page. It takes, generally these days, nowadays, you need more than just an idea. You need to put a lot of time and money just to get to the point where people are willing to give you money. And that is, they have done a phenomenal job, from the artwork, from the GIFs on the page, from the layout of information, the breakdown of the players, the time per player, the reasons to back. I mean, we'll come back to the reasons to the back shortly. But overall, they have produced an incredibly polished experience with great art, great visuals, great miniatures. The reviews are pretty solid. They have a lot of people who seem to be looking forward to this game. And I was very close to overcoming my distaste for app-driven games, but just because of how amazing of a job they did in all other departments. I mean, look at these miniatures. Every scenario, every group of people comes with their own, like, big bad or whatnot. The children of Tlaloc, the Dread Tide with this amazing skeleton Spanish warrior. And they just have a ton of good stuff on this page. And from there, let's jump into the pricing, and then we'll come back to we'll come back to a few things. So pricing wise, you're looking at $90 for the base game or $155 for the all-in with everything. Now, as always, do not forget to account for shipping. I think they bookmarked shipping at around $20, and so you're talking about somewhere in the range of $115, $120 to $175, which is a lot of money. Now, that's not necessarily a good or a bad thing in of its own, but it's a decent amount of money. It doesn't come to the $250 all-in pledges of a CMON game, but it's still a decent amount of money to pledge on a game with an unestablished a publisher who just doesn't have a track record of producing yet. We don't know what hiccups they'll hit on the road. We don't know whether the game will be well loved after it comes out. That being said, let's get into why I was willing to overcome my hesitancy, and then I'll tell you at the end why in the end I don't think I'm backing it. So I do think this is a safe bet. I do think this is a game where you're not looking at spending $155 and then having this worth half the price. They have a decent amount of testimonials already that express opinions, meaning this is more than just gameplay reviews. This is more than just, oh, it's a fascinating combination of mechanics. Now, I say that with that tone of voice because there's always let's look at the various things. Two games have really caught my eye. Sea of Legends is one of them. This is great, but it's meaningless. It just means it's pretty. It doesn't mean it's a good game. You're never going to see the same game twice. Again, that's a meaningless testimonial. That is one of those nice, easy to say things that has an element of truth to it, but doesn't express an opinion. Same with this one. This is a testimonial that just doesn't really tell you much. But what I did appreciate is this one over here. Sea of Legends is potentially something truly special. Consider this one of my most anticipated Kickstarter 2020 by Jan Biggis, and this is by someone who has played the game. This is not by someone who has not played the game. This is somebody who has actually played, actually given the game a try, and has so far seemingly enjoyed the game. So there are things to be said for whether people like these games, whether they do like them, don't like them, all that good stuff. In any case, from there, it's as far as why to back, they give you a few reasons to back. The first and most obvious is the fact that, let me find this here, it is Kickstarter exclusive. This game is not going to be produced anywhere else. This game is not going to be visible anywhere else that you can find it, and so ultimately you're either buying it now or you're trying to hunt it down. They do say it'll be on their web store, and they don't really give you a lot of information about that, so I don't know if that's like a too many bones Chip Theory Games kind of thing where it'll be available on their web store but for cheaper, because they do cover, if you back now you'll save $20, if you back the all-in you'll save $35, so it does sound like they're kind of going for a Chip Theory thing. They're not guaranteeing limited production at all. They're saying it's Kickstarter exclusive, which means it's here and it's going to be in our web store. It's not really 100% clear what their aftermarket drive is and how that's going to play out, but it definitely does seem like they're saying it's not going to be hitting retailers. It's not going to be available for half the price or 75% of the price later, so you have to factor that into all your decisions. But it does seem like it's probably going to be not, it does seem like it will not be available for cheaper after the fact. And then, like I said, this is well produced and they have a lot going for it. I don't think this is a Kickstarter that you're likely to see a ton of aftermarket increase. It's day one and they're doing pretty decently, which means there are enough people who are backing this. There's enough of a demand, enough of a build up, enough of a hype. So I think it's a safe bet. I don't think it's a hugely, I don't think it's the best buy ever, but I don't look at Kickstarters. I know I talk a lot about return on your money. For me, what I'm looking for when I back a Kickstarter is not that the Kickstarter will be worth more money. That's icing, that's gravy, it's good if it is, but I'm simply looking to not lose. I don't like it when I back a Kickstarter and then all that excitement, all that hype that I let myself, become engaged in, after the fact, when I sit there and look later and the game hits the shelves, suddenly it's available for $40, $50 cheaper day one when it starts hitting people. People are offloading their pledges. People say it's not a great game or it hits retail. So I don't care if it's worth the same amount of money or twice the price. I just want it to be worth at least the same amount of money when I back a Kickstarter. I generally, with some exceptions, will not back a Kickstarter if I think it's going to be cheaper for the same thing after the fact. That's really my criteria. Whether it's $1 more, the same, or $100 more is not my decision tree. In any case, from there, why am I not backing it? Ultimately, and this is where I still might change my mind. I still plan on doing some more looking into this. But from the playthrough that I watched, it very much seems to have, first of all, it has a semi-co-op aspect to it, which I generally am not a fan of. And secondly, it has a lot of take that. It has a lot of, just dinging away at other people in a way that, while the people playing the game certainly seem to be having fun, I personally didn't feel engaged or pulled in by the experience. I'm not a big fan of take that in games. I don't mind hurting people. I don't mind being hurt, but I like when the game feels like when you're hurt, you can get back up again right away. And also that when you're dinging away at people, it's more strategic and more less than just like a little pinging away at people. I mean, I don't know if I'm probably not doing a great job distilling the types of I'm not doing a good job distilling, let's say, why I'm totally fine with a game like Kemet where you're attacking each other, but where this kind of back and forth dinging each other, I wasn't such a huge fan of, at least from the playthroughs that I watched. So, and by the way, that alone wouldn't have been enough. It's the combination of the app experience that I'm generally turned off by, and the take that element that has me a little too wary that I don't think this is going to get pulled out as much, despite the absolutely gorgeous game. I mean, this again, beautifully produced from the board, from the map, from the cards, the miniatures. This is a game that I'm looking for reasons to change my mind, but I don't know if I will. There's just too many big red flags on a personal level, on a personal preference of what I like in games. So I don't think I'll be backing it, but I do think it is a safe place to put your money. I do think it'll be worth somewhere in the range of what you paid for it. They've done a phenomenal job. They've done a great job building confidence in me. They've done a great job building confidence in the 1,000 people that on day one have backed this game, and in the reviewers who so far have taken a look at the game. I do recommend taking a look at this one. I do take a look, see if it's your kind of thing. If it is, go ahead and back it. Show your support. Ultimately, that's my opinion. That's my 2 cents. And let me know in the comments down below. Are you backing it? Are you not backing it? Why or why not? I'm always interested. And keep in mind, this is a two-way street when I do these videos. I do come in with a lot of information and a lot of opinions, a lot of history, but at the same time, I have made my own opinions and I have changed my mind based on people's comments. In my last video that I did the other day, I am actively backing The Hunters now. The Hunters is a different Kickstarter. I'll link to the video I did up above. There we go. But The Hunters is a game that I said I was interested in. I said it looked cool, but I probably wasn't going to jump on the fence. And just this sheer amount of overwhelming support, every single person who had any opinion on it was, this game is amazing, you have to get it, you have to buy it. And so I looked into it more, and sure enough, I'm going to go ahead and back it. I mean, like I said, this is a two-way street. I have my opinion, but I'm always interested in your opinions as well, because it does inform and change my own sometimes. Anyways, that's it. I'm Alex from Board Game Co. If you like this stuff, go ahead and subscribe down below. Share this video with some friends who back too many games and could probably use someone telling them what they should or shouldn't back, although maybe I shouldn't be telling people. Either way. But anyways, go ahead and share, subscribe, like, comment down below, and until next time, I'm Alex. Have a good one, and I'll see you later.